Selamat pagi, kelas 7. Apa kabar? Hopefully by now you remember that the way to answer apa kabar is by saying baik-baik saja. Just fine. Okay, I'm not in at school at the moment. You may have heard I've had an operation on my leg, so I'm just doing the recovery from that. So I thought in the meantime, perhaps the best idea was to record the instructions for today's lesson, and we'll keep our Indonesian learning moving along. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're doing today. First of all, I've got up here the chalkboard presentation, as I call it, the topic chalkboard on our current topic, which is topic 2, Keluarga Hartono. So let's just quickly have a look at what we've been doing and where we're up to. So you remember the topic is Keluarga Hartono, the Hartono family. There they are, Ibu dan Bapak Hartono and Melati, Heru, dan Parto. Sorry, let me check that. Melati, Harto, dan Heru. Parto dan Heru. Okay, you remember we went through the finer details of how you say is in Indonesian, and we talked about the fact that we use is in a number of different ways in English, and in Indonesian there's 3 words to fill those functions. Adalah, isa, ada, there is, and sedang is now. So we went through some examples of those, and you had some practice at unjumbling some sentences using those words, and that was basically the work we went through in our previous lessons. We spent some time on Indonesian numbers. Now I know that many of you are very clever with your Indonesian numbers. Some of you are still putting in the practice to learn those first 10 numbers, because once we learn the first 10 numbers, of course, the rest of the system falls into place pretty easily. And if you use this class chalkboard, the class topic presentation, which you can access through Compass, you can obviously listen to Fira explaining the numbers 1 to 10, or listen to Fira explaining the numbers 11 to 100. We also spent a little time on fractions, which again are quite simple once you know the numbers, just using that word per this word here, per, to join the 2 numbers. So 2/3 would be 2/3. Okay, what we want to focus on today is a couple of things. Now I'm just going to flick out of here and go back to our lesson plan for a moment, just to have a look at what we are focusing on today. So if you get the lesson plan for today on Compass, you'll see the title of the lesson is Saying No and Describing Families. And okay, our learning intentions: be able to say no in Indonesian, be able to choose when you should use the words bukan or tidak to say no. Okay, so what we're going to find is a couple of different ways of saying no. Be able to describe Melati's family and using these words, some of them which I'm sure you will have come across before, some of them are going to be new words for you. Here's our activities. Watch this video, obviously. Hopefully you're doing that now. A couple of pages to read from the course book and a couple of learning activities from the course book. And down here I've got homework, which is basically just getting things up to date. Success criteria. You will know have been successful in this lesson if you can do these things, which obviously relate to the learning intentions. And here's our resources that we'll be using to get through the lesson. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation and have a quick look at these ways of saying no. All right, so we've got 2 words for no, bukan and tidak. And those words aren't interchangeable. You need to use the correct word in the correct circumstances or the correct situation. So bukan is no for nouns. Now hopefully from your English classes, you'll remember nouns are names, proper nouns such as your name. So if your name is Minrad, then that is a proper noun, and other nouns with the names of objects or animals such as cat, bag, etc. So bukan is used about a thing or a person. Okay, so when we're saying no about a thing or a person, it's bukan. And bukan, I haven't written this here, but you'll see down here, it's no and it's also not. So ini bukan mobil saya. This is not my car. This not car of mine. Once again, looking at that, noticing that word order reversal there. Dia bukan guru. She is not a teacher. She, not teacher. So you can see in those cases we've used bukan because we're saying no or not to nouns, the names of things or people. Tidak is no for verbs and adjectives, okay? So tidak is used about an action or a description. So if we're saying no about an action or a description, we use tidak. So here's some examples. Melati tidak belajar. Melati is not studying. Melati not studying. Heru tidak tinggi. Heru is not tall. So you can see this one's an adjective, studying. Sorry, this one's a verb, a doing word, studying. Belajar. This one's an adjective, tinggi. We want to say no to those things. We don't use bukan, we use tidak. Okay, I've put up some examples here for you to have a think about. Maybe you'd like to just pause the video and just decide in these cases which you would use. Would you be using tidak? Would you be using bukan? So pause the video now and have a think about these examples, and then I'll go through them quickly. Okay, hopefully you've had a moment to do that. So basically what we're trying to do is decide whether to use bukan or tidak. Now if we were saying she is not a doctor is a noun, it's a name of something, so we would be saying using bukan, dia bukan doktor. Okay? If we wanted to say she is not sad, in this case, sad, it's not a noun, it's not the name of something, it's an adjective. So we'll be using tidak. Dia tidak sedih. Next example, this is not a tree. Now in this case, a tree is the name of something, a name of an object. So we'd be using bukan. Ini bukan pohon. And similar over here, this is not a ball. Once again, it's an object, it's a name of something, a ball. So we'd be saying ini bukan bola. Similarly down here, ini bukan anjing. This is not a cat. Over here, this time we're negating an action. So it's not the name of something, it's an action. We're saying not goodbye, so this would be tidak. Tidak selamat jalan. And here we're negating an adjective. This is not a blue car, so we'd say mobil ini tidak biru, because we're negating an adjective. So hopefully that's starting to make a little bit of sense. Now you can practice and with some examples that are in our book, and these examples are all using language that we've learnt through our lessons so far. Saya tidak tinggal di kota Sydney. I don't live. I don't live, and living is a verb, so it's tidak. Bapak Kono tidak bekerja. He doesn't work, so once again it's tidak. And you can read through the rest of these examples. If you're not sure what they're saying, use your resources to help you translate them. Look up the words in the back of your book or use your translator, and you'll see that in each of these cases it was correct to choose tidak as the word for no or not or don't. And in the next examples, we're looking at examples where bukan is the right word to use because we're looking at nouns. So this one is bukan orang Indonesia, Indonesian people, an Indonesian person. Indonesian, that's a noun. Bukan. That guest is not an Indonesian person. Melati is not the youngest child. Bukan. Okay, so it's a little confusing, but hopefully with a bit of practice you'll get the hang of it. Here's some learning activities to have a go at. Course book, reading through the course book, page 45 and 46, and then there's the activity book to have a look at.